Okay. Good evening. I'd like to welcome you all to the November 15th Hinckley Township Trustees Special Meeting for the purpose of a work session. And we are going to start at 4:01 p.m. This evening, we have in the audience Medina County Sanitary Engineer Jeremy Cinco. Thank you for being here.
No problem.
We're going to start with you since you are a guest, and you can sit right where you are, or you're welcome to come to the podium. But we had discussed in our previous trustee meeting about having you come out with some numbers and some ways that we might be able to pursue water in town center. Since that conversation, there's kind of been a little bit of an explosion on social media where folks have had problems with their cisterns, and people on Mattingly Road are now asking for the concept of water on their road as well. So I'm going to let you take the role. And you have a letter, potentially a drafted letter for us?
I didn't work on the drafted letter just yet. I figured let's have this conversation first.
Okay.
I can discuss what's in the letter.
Okay.
How about I do this? I'll drop off. I worked up a couple options, just at least this is just for the center of town. So I have two options, an A and a B.
Thank you.
Got an extra copy over here. If you know.
Thank you very much.
All right, so I'll start with option A here. I don't know if you want to see here. So I didn't, but so option A will start basically at, I believe it's just east of Cooter Road there on Center Road. The idea is that we would extend the water main would actually have to get extended easterly. Is that Maple? Yeah, Maple Hill Road.
Mhm.
The idea would be to bring the water main up around Maple Hill Road, come down to the south side, and then get water to the extents of the commercial areas in the center of town there. On this other sheet here, I provided a cost breakdown, the estimate, if you will. So for this option, we have approximately 5,300 feet of water main that would need to be installed there. As far as the surveying done for construction plans, we're looking at about $35,000 for that. I'm estimating maybe $20,000 in soil borings. I know I'm sure everyone here is accustomed to a lot of rock in the area. So we want to make sure that we document that very well. As far as project design cost or probably engineering cost, you're probably looking around $175,000 for that. And I'm using this pricing I got is based on a project that we did off of Grafton Road that was actually just awarded through resolution this morning. As far as construction cost, I'm using about $300 a foot. And that would be just as, like I said, an estimate. And that also includes any type of potential rock that we would have to encounter. And then that would also be for any of the premium backfill that we would need to install. There's a lot of concrete and pavement as you go north from the Center of Ridge intersection there. That would have to be replaced with the premium backfill, and that is, there is a charge for that. Inspection cost, I'm looking around $100,000, and construction management services about $25,000. So the estimated project cost for this is just under $2 million at $1,945,000. And that would be for option A.
So is that I thought you said they were the same numbers. He told you the same numbers as the last year's quoted, 900.
Yeah, so actually, when we broke it down 6 different ways. We never broke it down in such a large portion. So we broke it down to bring it down to the center of town. We didn't break it down to go north. That was a separate fee in the email that you were given.
So if we wanted to adjust that footages, we can take a little bit off, but we would just reduce that 5,300 foot. We could adjust that to if you're looking for more of us, just to get it just to the center, we can look at that as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we've never talked about this grand of a scheme. We've broken it down from bringing it straight down 303. We broke it down from bringing it from, it's all here, from bringing it from Bellis north. Route 303 and then heading south down Ridge. Then we broke it down from Mattingly to Town Center, the easement by the church to Town Center, and then we're just 303 straight to the Historical Society, not taking it up north or south. So those are the numbers. that we were-
Well, where does 900 get you to? Anywhere?
900,000.
Yeah.
That might get you close to the center.
But not even up to.
I'd have to double check those numbers. What's really gonna hurt is the rock
Right.
and having to, and I know that we even did, as part of one of our other projects, we did do some soil borings up here and we did encounter rock. And if I remember correctly, it was soft rock, but it is still rock nonetheless.
Right.
So there was gonna be a premium on getting that installed,
It was
cut in through there.
primarily sandstone. We did that back in 2017. I worked with Amy on that.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was probably that part of that same.
So is it
soil.
possible to break this up? Like we had kind of talked about previously. I know option B is a little different. You're coming off of that easement by the church.
Mhm. Yeah, my understanding was that I thought you wanted to service the center
Yes,
of.
yes. So can you talk to us about option B?
Option B is, there is an easement off of the old Skyland development right there, or the old Skyland Golf Course. We have a 20-foot easement there that extends, I could show you, it extends across the property to get to Ridge Road. There is no water main here at this time, but we do have the easement that is already recorded. So the idea here would be to bring the water main easterly to Ridge Road, south to the center of town, and then just was to get the water in front of the commercial areas in the square here, or the center of town here. 7,650 feet. Option B, there is a little, as far as the surveying for that, I have that about 51,000, soil borings, 30,000, just because of the extra 2,000 foot or so. We're gonna need a couple of additional soil borings there. Project design, we're probably at about 225,000 for that. Construction cost, just under 2.3 million. Inspection cost about 150,000. Construction management services, 40,000. And that brings us just under $2.8 million to run the water main through the easement to Ridge and south to town.
The last time we talked, we said Mattingly to Town Center would be roughly 1.5 to 1.6.
Mattingly to town center,
Yeah, which is just north of this easement.
correct.
And that was 1.5 to
Yeah,
1.6.
cost for materials has skyrocketed. We just, like I said, the previous project that we just did, we had originally estimated at 1.7 million. The engineer that helped us with the plans came in at 1.9, and we barely just got under the 10%. It came in just under a little over $2 million. So the cost for materials have just skyrocketed over the last year or so. So a lot of these numbers are considerably higher.
Yeah, because we had said roughly $82,000 for engineering costs and
Yeah.
inspections.
I mean, I used to estimate a 12-inch water main, probably $150 a foot, and we're probably closer to the $250 a foot now. I mean, that's just how significant the cost for materials has gone up. And then getting them is also an issue.
So using our $900,000 in funds wouldn't even get us to the center of town.
It would be close to getting it to the center. I don't think that you'd be able to get very far north or south in front of the on Ridge Road.
So I guess the question is, do we want to pursue a letter to Town Center folks and see if they're interested and see if it's something we want to pursue, and if maybe the county has capital improvement funds to assist in this process?
So I can touch on that. So typically what we do, when like customers or properties are interested in having a sewer or water main extension, we'll send out letters to the property owners, kind of understanding whether or not they are interested. and the water. We asked them to sign the letter as almost like what we call a petition. Basically, that they're committing to is that if they sign this letter and the water main or sewer main gets installed, that they would then be required to connect to the utility within 2 years of its completion, or the connection charge would then be assessed to the property, and that connection charge right now is $3,400. We typically look for at least 50% of response from the property owners. If we get 50% or more of the property owners that say, yeah, we would like the water, they'll sign the petition acknowledging the commitment to tie in with the assessment there. Then at that point, that's when we start looking at the feasibility of doing the project. I will say that this project here is not on our current 10-year capital improvement plan. So to get that, I mean, for a cost, if you're looking for the county to cover an additional, the additional $1 million or whatever that a number ends up being, that would have to be one approved by the commissioners as far as a project, and we would have to figure out where we could potentially fit that in, because a lot of our capital improvement is right now is fixing and addressing other issues in our water system.
So in theory, we'd be 10 years down the road.
In theory, yeah.
In theory, okay.
If you're looking for the county to
Right.
compensate or help with the cost of this project.
I mean, these numbers are just, to me, these numbers are not a reality.
Well, I just think they're high now. I don't know that they're gonna stay that high. If you're looking at moving forward with, this is not a simple process. This is an extremely tumultuous and time-consuming process. I'm assuming we're at the early stages of probably a 4 to 5 year process. Guessing correctly.
Let's just assume that we have all the funding in place, right? I'm imagining that this would take an engineer that we work with, maybe, let's just say 5 to 6 months to design, with materials and stuff. Let's just assume maybe 9 months to a year to install.
Is that for plan A or B?
I would say for engineering those, I would say both. And the reason is that through this easement here, there's a lot
So
of
the
wooded.
rock's not any different than the
What's
other-
that?
So the rock's not any different than the other way?
I don't know. I think that's why we need the soil borings to kind of determine where the rock, I'm assuming it's throughout both
So you
projects.
assume the price is the same on both then?
Correct.
Okay.
I don't think that the rock is just isolated to Center Road.
I mean, even, I agree, prices are high right now. I think they're gonna continue to go up. But even when inflation starts to go back down, I don't see it dropping by $1 million. And we're talking about $900,000 that we have with these funds. This is almost $2 million just for option A.
So when I, in that project that I had mentioned that we just awarded, it is a 16-inch main. So it is larger than the most likely 12-inch line that we put in here, just to kind of give you some background on these numbers.
Which one, A or B?
The project that we had awarded
okay.
was over in Liverpool Township, I believe. But it's a 16-inch main again, so your material costs are going to be a little bit more. However, they are in an easement and there's no rock. Okay, so we after you took the footage there, it was $335, we'll call it a foot, for that pipe to install and not through rock. So that's kind of how I arrived at my $300 per foot. I would, in all honesty, I would never have guessed it would be this high but I mean, with the prices and the cost of everything these days, that's just kind of where it's at.
Mhm.
So what size pipe is this? that comes out
This would most likely be like about a 12-inch line.
For both of them?
Correct. That is correct.
So 16's worth a lot more.
The pipe itself may not be substantially more, but your, like your line valves and your hydrants and fittings and stuff, that's where you tend to see your price increases. And I know right over by the southwest corner of, right over, I don't know where over here, I think it is. I know that the topography does drop off significantly, I believe on the north side of Center Road. So there is some challenges that will have to be addressed, through the design in that area. And then you're talking about having to bore under the roads. Those are expensive. And then you're under concrete. So that's kind of how I arrived at that higher $300 a foot.
So in the county's consideration, do they look at how many entities will be served?
We do look at, yeah, so just for easy math, right? We have 10 properties. Okay, you extend the line. If we have 5, we say, okay, that's 5 properties. What's the cost of this project? We got to look at rate of return on some of these, unfortunately, as well. But when you start getting into, 60, 70, 80% of the people, well, it might make it more worthwhile. But to your point, yeah, we do look at responses, positive responses.
I don't have the option plan B here, but the extension of plan B. So is that digging a lot easier than plan
I'm sorry, what's
A?
that?
Is the digging? I mean, because there's no rock on this one, right?
I'm guessing that there's rock all through the area.
It's not bad. It's just coming down 303 across there, that ridge.
Yep.
I've dug in, I've been almost every house that's in the new Skyline Golf Course development. Haven't seen any in the foundation there. Across the church property, I've seen them dig across there. It's pretty clear. And then along Ridge Road here, we've put in many things over 6 foot deep.
Okay.
We're not hitting any rocks.
Anything over by the school?
Across this ridge line right through here.
Did you notice anything up by the school area or the new schools at?
It was all, they brought us over 4,000 yards of clay from there, and there was nothing.
Nothing.
there.
Okay. And there may not be. Again, that's why we would do the soil borings to confirm.
Would this water line service the school at all? And would that have any benefit to?
If it came from west down Center Road, the line would not get to the school. If we came through the easement by the church south to town, the water main would pass in front of the school. Now, whether the school decides to connect to the water main or not, that would be their decision.
They already have the hookup. It was built in when they built the school. So they
Okay.
would most likely connect. I spoke with the superintendent on Saturday night.
Okay.
This the 20-foot easement that you guys own there.
Mhm.
Now, you're gonna run the line from your end to Ridge Road?
Mhm.
So you're gonna run the line for us to there?
No, I'm just saying that's where the water main would need to be installed.
So we gotta extend your line on your property to Ridge Road?
Correct.
Oh, okay.
Not on our property. I don't know who.
Your easement?
Yep,
It's
correct.
on your easement?
Yep.
Okay,
That's
so
correct.
you want us to put your water line on your easement, okay?
Mhm.
And then it can be shortened in option A. It doesn't have to go all the way past the old school.
Correct. I guess I made that
With
assumption.
the engineering and the time that you're gonna spend going through all that rock. It doesn't make sense.
Option
Yeah. Yes. It doesn't make sense.
These numbers that you have are based on us actually doing it right now, not 10 years down the road.
Correct.
In 10 years down the road, we lose $900,000 every year
Yeah, we have 5 years to use it.
now.
4,
Well, it has to be appropriated.
right.
Within the next 2 years.
By 2024, I thought.
Yeah, so there's, a decision has to be made and the funds have to be just appropriated, definitely assigned to a purpose.
And it's not necessarily that we would lose the funds, we would just use them on something else. I
We would
mean,
lose the funds for water.
they would be
majority of
used for
people-
something else, yes.
People want it in center town.
Yes, they would be used for something else.
And it's not 900,000 right now, it's currently right around 850. And it's only going up a small percentage every month of the interest that it garners, so I don't think it'll reach 900,000.
Is there any money available to the new funding from the federal government for infrastructure?
That this is what the ARPA money, one of the purposes for it, but we have no other resources for that currently.
Someone in the audience from Mattingly Road. So I know there was some talk on social media recently that you guys are interested in water as well. We don't have that option in front of us. I'm sure it's even more costly, but I just wanted to see.
And that's Mattingly east of Ridge.
Yeah, that's correct, yeah. We're actually right before the bridge over River Road.
Okay.
Nearly every resident we talked to would love to pay the cost to hook up if it was ran down, us included. And we're all dealing with cisterns, and we're so low to the river basin that doing a well is almost impossible with what we're running into with rock and shale and all kinds of other stuff. If you look at the well records, even those that tried to dig a well have had almost no luck getting anything of quality to be usable, so we're all stuck on cisterns. And, you know, I live with 5 women, so this is a topic in my house. Every time it runs out and I'm at work.
Here you are.
Yes, here I am.
Is option A, am I seeing it correctly? Does it just go right past town hall? It doesn't even go down to the fire department?
It can't. There's a ravine there. That's a,
Well, I mean, we could get it down there, but that was also, I mean,
yeah, it was
you
very
can get there,
expensive.
but it's just to limit the scope of this.
Mhm.
That wasn't an option when we first talked about it because of the ravine. We don't really know how deep it is. I mean, nobody.
It would just be
looked at it.
costly. I
Yeah.
mean, to bore it under the ravine, so.
Mhm. Well, that's something that Melissa's spoken extensively about, is that we need it at the fire department and the
Mhm.
service department.
Yes,
So,
and so that option would have come from Bellis Road and then north on Ridge.
adding to the cost.
Well, it's just a different option. It's not in front of you, but it's definitely a viable option. Last time we got the cost analysis of Bellis, let's see. It was estimated at $800,000 to go Bellis to the fire station and service department. And that was back in July of last year. So I'm sure it's exceeded that, but
Yeah.
that was, and that didn't include the roughly $82,000 for engineering and inspection.
Correct. That was probably just more of a construction cost, probably using the $150 a foot or so.
It was.
But yeah, that, I mean,
175.
was that
I think it was.
175? Okay. I'm
You
assuming,
said now it's almost 250.
yeah, I mean, that'd be probably a pretty safe number. And then again, we gotta have, well, then I don't think I included any engineering cost or inspection cost in with that estimate as well. That was just construction.
Right, but like I said,
Yep.
you gave me roughly $82,000 for inspections and.
Yeah.
engineering.
That sounds about right.
So if we know that that was roughly 3,500 feet. That's what the-
3,500 feet. Pretty close to $1 million.
875,000, but that's just construction, right? It's another 82,000, roughly $100,000 for engineering and inspections. So you're at
Yeah,
975.
At 3,000 feet, you know, you might be around the 70. And the engineering gets also kind of difficult to figure. I mean, if it's pretty simple installation, you know, design, your costs are going to go down. If it's a little bit more, you know, convoluted, it'll be a little bit higher. So, but I think in this, you're probably looking at 50 to 75,000 maybe in engineering cost, as long as there's nothing crazy that they would have to design for.
Because that's before the ravine. So it'd be fairly simple.
What are your general
sources of funding when it comes to water? You have township level, you have county level, it sounds like. Is there a state level grants or state level grants?
Typically for like grants and stuff, Medina County, due to the income, doesn't really qualify for a lot of the low income funding. Our department, we're an enterprise fund, so we're all self-funded. So, if we're paying for a project, it's through our user rates. Typically on routine stuff, we like to pay, maintenance, annual maintenance stuff, we like to pay cash if we can. For a project like this, where we're extending new waters or sewers, we typically will pull out we'll use a loan through OWDA.
So what if we just brought it down 303 to Town Center in hopes that in future we could take it north on Ridge to accommodate our businesses and our residents?
I mean, I could definitely
That's
look at the
something-
numbers for that.
Trying to see.
Paul O'Neill, I don't understand why you want to take it down Center Road though, Melissa. I mean, you're gonna be servicing a cemetery. Going through the easement in the future, you probably have more benefit to townspeople than along the cemetery. My mother-in-law, she lives on Center Road. She put a well in 1976. It turned out to be an artesian well. So it didn't even need a pump or a well pump. It would just come right out of the ground. And today, it just trickles out of there.
Mhm.
So the aquifer in Hinckley is getting lower and lower, okay? And that's with nothing else happening. I mean, anything to take the pressure off of the aquifer system is gonna be a benefit for people who happen to be able to tap into the water. It's also gonna have a benefit for the people who have wells. It's gonna help preserve what they have now, or at least slow down the depletion of the water in Hinckley. I think if you have funds available to get this done, I think it would be money well spent. I think if you ignore it, the generations in the future will look back at the missed opportunity that we have here.
I agree with you, Paul.
My father's been at 858 Center Road for a long time, 76. And there's been times that he's been able to turn the faucet on, fill a glass of water, and light it on fire.
That's interesting.
Just, it is what it is. I've talked to Depew, he's like, yep, I've seen it many times. And he's worked on every single well around. So. Little by little.
Then I just spoke with a business owner who owns a building in Town Center, excuse me, and said, I wish we would have known about this. Wish we could have gotten this done. I just spent another $16,000 to dig a whole new well. Much rather have connected to a water option. And they were lucky they could dig a new well. I still speak to what the people of Hinckley want. I think by the outcome here today, we see folks that are in dire need of quality waters. We don't live in a third world country. We live in Hinckley, Ohio. It's a beautiful community. And I would like to pursue either one of the options and see if folks are interested in connecting and see if we can find funds in other places to allocate towards this project.
We as a township do not have those funds, additional funds in our revenue.
I agree. I understand
Okay,
that. I'm
just so we make
I'm
it
just
clear.
asking if we can agree to send out the letters and see if we can get 50%. I mean, are 50% of people willing to be a part of this process? If they are, then we really need to look at this and maybe see if we can find other grant opportunities. Have conversations with the county, have conversations with the state, and see what we can do to make this a viable option for the people who have poor water quality in Town Center.
Well, I think we're talking to the county right now. The
Yeah,
county is saying that this is not even on their 10-year plan for Hinckley. And I agree, people should be able to have fresh, clean water, but running county water is not the only option for that. There are other options of cisterns. We talked about replenishing aquifers that are, starting to go dry. There's other options other than just running county water. I mean, like to Martha's point, we don't have $2 million, and that's today. That is, I mean, if we were to proceed with this 6 months from now, what are the numbers gonna look like? I would assume that they're gonna.
I wish I could tell you.
I know you don't have your crystal ball. I know you don't have your crystal ball, but I would assume that they would go up even higher. And it's not feasible, $2 million. And that is the lesser of the two projects is $2 million.
What if somebody wants to donate the money? How do they even know how much to donate? Need to get a number.
We have a number right here.
Real number.
roughly $1 million is what we're looking at. That's needed to pursue option A.
I actually have a question. As far as the school, so I know the school isn't tapped, the new Hinckley Elementary is not tapped into this. So how are they supplying water? Because I don't live far from there. And, you know, before we had cisterns, it's to the point of turning toilets off, not being able to run a dishwasher, not being able to run a washer. I mean, barely even being able to shower. The water is not available. So how is this Hinckley Elementary able to supply that water? Out of curiosity.
It's my understanding that they have their own well. That's all I know. They have a
Okay.
fire suppression system that is run off of a tank that was put underneath the building.
Okay.
Because
Like I said, I live close to there. It's not even a mile past 94 and 303, a mile north of 303. And I mean, it's crazy. Like I said, to turn the toilets off between use, to not even be able to have a, you know, use your washer, not even able to use the dishwasher, hand washing dishes with buckets of water. I mean, this is Hinckley, Ohio. This is absolutely crazy that this water is not available according to Depew. We've used Depew. And now having to get cisterns and now being threatened that the cisterns can't be filled in the summertime because it's taking too long.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. It's not your fault. I'm just saying, I'm just letting you know that, again, I know it costs money. I understand that, but this point is not moved. Like, this is a real problem that we are experiencing, not even a mile north of the center of Hinckley. And that's why it's crazy to me.
My question would be on that one, since she's towards North Royalton, why can we not tap into Royalton's water supplies?
Jeremy?
I don't
I think
I don't know if there-
it's Cleveland.
there's a-
Around Ridge Road, right? They got the water treatment plant right up there. I mean.
we have
Why are we just looking one route instead of the other?
we have an agreement with the city of Cleveland as far as serviceability and who can service what, or who's to service what areas, and this is the county's area to service. But I don't even think that they would want to bring a single line all the way south this far from a water quality standpoint. Typically, you want to have a loop, and if you have a long water main that sits like that could cause water quality issues.
Sounds like we already have water quality.
Different kinds of issues.
So who do we talk to in Cleveland about this? Stephanie?
There wouldn't be any, I mean, this is like a county service area.
You know, just like anything else, in 10 years, how much is it gonna cost? In 10 years, how much is it gonna cost to add fuel to fill up your cistern tank? Basically, 57% of the public, wants, water. I think we need to look at infrastructure. Water is commodity if you can't live without. And we experience those kind of things also with bad water. Wells running dry.
In 10 years, how many more people are gonna be in this room complaining about how they have to wash the dishes with buckets?
Jeremy, could you explain, or may not be aware of where the Cleveland water line agreement is as far as river and Mattingly and state in that area? Isn't there a line of demarcation where Cleveland?
Yeah, I don't,
Walden and Wakefield and their Cleveland.
I know
water.
as far as you get farther east in Hinckley, I think that is the Cleveland area. The Cleveland area, and I can't remember,
And I thought it was the river.
Yeah, I can provide that.
Mattingly.
I can provide the map to you if you'd like.
Wayne's Point, I think you're on River Road,
Mhm.
and I think that's actually part of the Cleveland water line responsibility. So
Correct.
to your point, people in your neck of the woods should be reaching out to Cleveland because there is proximate water lines because of the conservation developments where the water line was run. So that would be something,
Well, maybe we can get the trustees to.
and that very well could be an opportunity for them to reach out to Cleveland. But that's not a Medina County
I would like the
territory.
trustees to research it.
I will look into that.
I think all of the trustees should look at it.
And I can provide you the agreement just so you have the locations of that area.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Mhm.
There was a question in the back.
Yeah, could we repeat that? So anyone who's west of the river on Mattingly Road is Medina County?
There's a line of demarcation there where Cleveland assumes the water line, one portion of Mattingly and east, and Medina County is
I was gonna
the
say, I can
western
probably pull it up.
point of that line of demarcation, not knowing where you live and exactly where that line,
On your
but
website.
that is.
Mm-mm.
Or roughly where the River Road, or sorry, where the river crosses over Mattingly is roughly that demarc.
I assume that was my recollection years ago,
It's
but
the,
I think that Jeremy can surely give you a much better idea of where that line is.
Do you need the
residences
Wi-Fi?
That we're all talking to. on
Nope, I'm
Mattingly,
good, thank you.
We're not even talking about one entity we have to complain to now. We have two entities we have to get.
Well, no,
Am I
one
wrong?
is responsible for one portion and one is responsible for the other portion, so it depends.
We just
where-
weren't aware of that. So
Yeah,
that, now we know we're talking to more than one entity at this point.
The reason we have Medina County here is because we wanted to pursue town center according to the survey results from the comprehensive plan audit. And a lot of the information that I've garnered from the parcel owners here in town center, they were very much interested. And that's why we've got Jeremy here from Medina County, because they source this vicinity. But we can certainly have those conversations with the Cleveland Water Department as well.
If there was a large portion of people in Hinckley that were willing to sign that they would tap in, would that make any difference to you not having a 10-year to look out, but maybe sooner?
I mean, we could surely, once we get that information back, I mean, I could take it and discuss it with the commissioners, because again, they got to, approve any type of construction project we do, but if that is put as a higher priority, that's something I guess that we would look at and have to get direction on.
I have a question. Some people have talked about aquifers. Is it a possibility to replenish or increase what an aquifer is producing, or is it a matter of looking for new aquifers?
That is a fantastic question, and I unfortunately cannot answer it. I would maybe the health department and OD, soil and water might be able to better answer that. We don't get into the aquifers very often in our department.
I've said understanding that once an aquifer is dried up, that's it,
Mhm.
because that's a problem out west. The aquifers.
Okay.
Gone away.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not the person you need to talk to on that one. And to your point, it looks like River Road, basically from center north to, I'll call it Boston Road, kind of how it up there. Just west of River Road is Cleveland from that area, and basically anything east of River Road would be a Cleveland water.
Excuse me?
You
Say
said
that
Cleveland
again?
for both, Jeremy.
I'm so, yeah, I correct. So, is there
You
a
know
way,
what?
if I email this, could you?
I was gonna say,
Pop it up?
you could either email it to me, or if you can go on our website, I can connect you to the Zoom option and you can just share your screen. I'll let you in. Do you have a preference? Just
Email
email.
sounds easier.
Jim, while you're
Sure.
dealing with that, if you are able to, I'm curious as to, one of the challenges with businesses is fire suppressant systems. And so the Township Business Center really has no means of fire suppressant systems right now, other than the school, which has a giant
Mhm. Yeah.
well or
Storage tank.
storage
Yep.
tank of some sort. And so my question or my concern is, if Foster's were to burn down, for instance, or any of these other businesses that are located in the business district, how easily would they be able to rebuild without having the fire suppressant systems that the current code requires for some of those businesses? And so my question to you, I guess, is how much do you look at not just the serviceability of those parcels, but also their needs? So for instance, in a business district, you need
For like fire
a lot
protection.
higher need for fire protection. Whereas on single residence, you don't have that fire protection.
So our system is primarily designed for distribution and domestic use. We provide fire protection as a secondary service, and we provide it when we can. There are some areas where have, less, we don't necessarily have the volume or pressure to provide it as Beltwell and some other areas, but we don't necessarily design our system based on the fire protection. But somewhere over here, I believe there's plenty of, if I remember, yeah, because we're coming downhill here. This is a high pressure area, so I wouldn't imagine that fire, protection would be an issue here.
But when you look at your 10-year plan or your
Mhm.
15-year plan of capital improvements, do you look at what the needs are from a fire suppressant standpoint as well as from, a service to residents? Because if you look at the number of parcels, it's probably relatively small,
Mhm.
but they have a greater need because they have fire suppressing concerns
Mhm.
than single family residents, which wouldn't have the same concerns.
I would say typically when we're looking at like our 10-year capital improvement plan is really currently for, replacing concrete water mains that leak and they probably take a good 8 to 12 hours to repair if we have a leak on them. We have to build a new water tower because our towers are cycling, which means that we fill the tower up, they get used, they fill up. If it cycles, it gets used so much that the EPA prefers it only doing once or twice. And we're hitting 5-6 times a day that the towers are cycling. So, we're starting to address areas like that currently.
Like 90% of your budget really infrastructure upgrades and 10% in capital improvement, or is it even less? Just roughly.
I would say that that's probably a pretty fair number, or 5% capital. Yeah. Yeah, we've done over the years since that was the late 90s, and there's been so much water expansion over the years. Like the county's just been growing, right? And we've been expanding the water sewer line. Well, now a lot of that stuff is 30, 40, 50 plus years old now. So now it's trying to go back and maintain all of these, all this infrastructure. I mean, we have 500 miles of water and sewer line to continually maintain. For instance, AWWA, which is one of the water organizations, they recommend that you replace your water mains once every 50 years. All right, let's just assume that we've doubled that. Okay, well, once every 100 years. That means we need to replace 1% of our water mains every year just to replace everything within 100 years. So that's talking about 5 miles of water main replacement. There's just no way we can do that. just from a budgetary standpoint. So it's a tough balance between, repairing the existing and also meeting the needs of water extensions.
To answer your question about fire suppression, a lot of times when
Jeremy,
you
did
go for a
you
building
email me
permit
that?
and you have a high fire load, you'll be required to build a tank on the property that you build ahead of time.
Right. And that's the concern is, if, let's say Foster's, for instance, if it burned down, would they be able to rebuild, or would the cost be so expensive and prohibitive that it just wouldn't make sense for them to rebuild? We got very lucky with the donut shop in that the donut shop was a very small size space. And so Carl was able to rebuild that without having to trigger all of those fire suppressant systems. But if it was larger, he might have had to do fire suppressant issues, which would have significantly increased the cost to rebuild the donut shop.
Yep.
And potentially made it prohibitive. So.
True.
Sorry, we changed email addresses.
It's okay. You need mine?
I just pulled it out of my old one real quick. Scroll, get it. All right, I think I got it. Hopefully you should get it here.
Technology.
Yeah.
I'm still not seeing it. Are you hooked into, which Wi-Fi are you hooked into?
I have a cell service
Oh,
in
okay.
this, so
you've got your own.
yeah.
While I'm waiting for this email to come through, is there anyone else that wants to speak about the water?
Question, are there any funds at all for this young woman here on the end who's living like she's in a third world country? Is there any county money or aid for her to dig another, would help her dig another well? Because I would think that would be a health concern, not to have water for your home. Is there any county aid available for her to help dig a new water or cistern, or is there any aid available for people like that or help?
I don't have the answer to that. I don't know if maybe Jeremy does.
I would say talking to the health department would be they deal with all the wells. They might have ideas as far as grants. From my past experience, a lot of times they look at income as being a part of that. But yeah, but it is something definitely to look.
Possibility.
Yeah, it's something.
For grants, not from county ones.
Correct.
Well, thank you. It's just, we've talked to you about digging the well deeper. And like I said, have cisterns, and now a company saying they might not deliver to the cisterns because it takes too long to fill the cisterns. But that's just crazy. And again, building a brand new elementary school really close by and relying on well water is just asinine in my opinion. It's just not available, again, according to the Q, who's come out and looked at mine and other people in here as well. So
I still don't have it. No, I keep refreshing and I don't have it.
Flash drive. Do you have a hookup? Oh man, we're just keep driving out. All right. What?
If you go to our website, you can just click on it. There's a button that says Zoom. So if you do that, she can let you into the Zoom room and make you a co-host, and then you can share your screen.
Which is what we tried to do earlier, but we thought the email might be easier.
Okay. All right, I'm on your website. Where am I?
There's that
Zoom.
big buttons. Yeah, you just click on Zoom and it'll give you the walkthrough to come into the Zoom room, and I'll make you a co-host and you can actually share your screen.
All right, I think I logged in. Oh, hold on one second. The passcode in.
Passcode's 2784181.
278.
Got you. Give me 1 second to make you co-host.
All right. Just don't laugh if you see anything embarrassing on the
I
laptop.
think once you, when you go to share it, it's very specific,
everything
just so
out.
that doesn't happen.
All right. It's not turning.
You know what? I don't have the ability.
Sorry.
Thank you, Lisa.
Okay.
Okay, you are a co-host, so if you click share screen at the bottom with the arrow that points straight up, there you go.
Yeah, got it.
Well done.
Okay, so this area B right here, that is the Cleveland area.
That's a large area.
Mhm.
So A would be Medina County and B would be City of Cleveland.
So that's really on the other side of River Woods.
In the way of anything.
Really River Road runs through.
So what are we looking at this?
This is
I
the,
think
this is the
purposes
agreement
are
with between Medina County and Cleveland.
Like that's the.
So the area B would be Cleveland Water Service Area.
Subdivision.
So it's
Yeah.
basically south, I mean, east of River Road.
And it's hard to say where automatically, because you have to follow the river.
Right.
I can send you this map to you as well if you want.
That would be great. I think you did. I just haven't gotten it yet.
Oh, that's right.
Did you just take a picture? You just cleared that.
Yes.
Everything east of the river.
Yeah, so you guys would be Cleveland.
606.
Where's 606 here? It's this, that's 606 right here, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's right there.
606.
County.
Yeah, and we
606 is right here. Yep, this is
Correct.
606.
and we have water right by the little can there. We have water that ends there
Oh, wait.
and then water that ends right here.
That's Mattingly at the top where you just were.
Correct. Yep. Yeah, we have water that is, I think we ended it right here.
Everything that's in blue
So the question is,
is Medina.
how much is it just to bring it straight down ridge and avoid the soil and all of the issues that we were talking about earlier?
It was bring it down from,
Mattingly,
oh, you're talking big bucks there.
really? It's more than the easement?
Because the easement's south of that.
Yeah, but the easement is lengthy.
Yeah, but there's nothing there. There's no utilities, there's no road to deal with. It's just property. So once you clear out the trees, because the easement's right here.
All right, so you told me it was roughly 8,300 feet,
From here to here.
Mattingly to town center.
So that's an extra 1,300 foot.
Yeah.
Yes, probably 270, 300,000 maybe extra.
2 million.
Although you would be servicing some extra houses if you came down from Matley on top.
Well, I think that she brought up a really good question, is if we can get to the 50%.
Right.
Would then the county have conversation about potentially assisting us?
I guess that would be something that I would have to then bring to the commissioners to discuss at that point.
I'm sorry, for the county to assist us with what?
The funding?
To go to Mattingly now?
No, I'm just saying if we can get 50%, if we were to send the letters and we could get our 50% that showed interest. The next question is, would the county then be able to assist us with some funding?
But that's even at the 50%, that's still well over the funds that we have. Because Martha's saying the funds are between 80 and 85,000 right now.
850.
852,000. 852,000, and we're talking about half is going to be 960. that what we're thinking?
I'm sorry, was that?
Half of it's gonna be like 960,000?
If you had 850, yeah, you're probably looking at in the neighborhood of an extra $1 million, a little over $1 million to cover the remaining balance of that coming down Center Road.
Which plan would you have?
I think the point is to get enough people to sign up.
Right.
Find out how many want water, go to the commission and see if the county will help.
I understand that, and I'm not opposed to that. What I'm saying is, it's still, even if the commissioners agree to it and they pay for half, that is still well over the grant money that we have, like almost $100,000 more
But aren't
than
they
the grant money that we
saying
have.
that the county might offer more if 50% or more
You don't even
people
know.
might be
Right.
interested? We
First
don't
find out.
know. Like, I understand that there's that amount of money available, but I think what they're asking is if 50% or more, people want this, would the county be willing to pay that?
That's
which,
Steve,
again,
50% is
no.
just to be considered.
That's
to
when we
get on
start
the plan.
considering projects.
A 10-year plan.
But it's a starting thing.
It's-
No, I understand that. I'm not discounting that. I'm saying, I'm trying to say, don't put the cart before the horse. 50% is not the do all end all. 50%, oh, we get the money. That's not what they're saying here. That's to try and get on their projected plan for future works. And we're not even on their radar for the 10-year plan right now. Am I correct in saying?
Yeah, and I mean, we have quite a bit of capital costs coming up. Like I said, we're actually building 2 water towers right now, and we're looking to improve our meter reading system. I mean, those projects alone are going to be in excess of probably $15 million just in this next year or two.
So realistically, to get on your plan, if we had 50%, you would take that for consideration, but there's no guarantee we'd even get on a 10-year.
And where we'd be able to fit that in that 10-year, I would have to take a look.
But at least you get on the radar.
Right.
Right,
And
but
I-
then that still doesn't even touch your water issue. This is just downridge through the
Right, but
center of
there's-
town.
But
She's
they're
down
saying
rich.
that, yeah, I'm downrange, but we're
But
saying
she's
that
beyond this.
this is a start,
She's
at
just
least
north
to
of-
be considered for this, because right now, we're not being considered. So something at this point is better than nothing. So if 50% of people in Hinckley
Well,
can say that they want this, I guess they're asking, will that even be the start to being in consideration for the 10-year plan?
Yeah.
Obviously, I, myself and others, I'm sure would like it before then, but if we're not on the 10-year plan now, we need something to get on a 10-year plan to at least be considered in the near future.
And I think I agree with you, and I think we need to do our due diligence, whether we use the ARPA funds for this or not. We need to work for you right now for that timeframe so that we can get this done,
So.
even if
so
it's
my
beyond my
question
term.
is, even though these people, and I'm not having problems with that water, so, but even though these people
Rub it in.
are having issues with their water, they're still allowed to put on new houses and drill new wells, which takes away from what they're.
It's their property. We cannot deter people to utilize their own property in the manners with which they want to use it.
So sooner or later, we're gonna bite ourselves in the behind because you're gonna need the water or nobody's gonna have water.
Hey,
I mean, look, I don't really need it, so
if it's 10 years, we can't save $100,000 a year. And we'll make up that $2 million.
but it's not $100,000. What they're talking about is right now, the price is this, right now.
Right.
Projected in 10 years with the people we have in office, it's gonna be probably 4 times this cost.
At least.
and something to
Side
keep.
of the aisle can agree that taxes are going up in the near future. We can assume that no matter what you believe, that in the future, that's what you have to look forward to.
And the ARPA money, I believe, has to be spent by 2026, right? So in the next,
But it has to
Three-
be designated for appropriation
in
by
about 2,
2024, which means that you have to have either purchased something or contracted for something, assigned it out.
So
Project.
how far out can the contract go?
Well, it has to be, the project has to be completed by the 2026 deadline, but you have to know what you're using it for. You have to get all the permissions. And if it's a job that's bid out, all the requirements. have to
Contract
be
signature.
Completed by 2024.
Is that the end of 2024 or the beginning?
I thought it was the end of 2024.
Okay.
2026 isn't even gonna.
But
No,
that's
the
why I
2024 is
said
going to be your deadline.
Maybe you just bring it down 303 and then stop at town center and then you allocate funds for the north of Ridge.
Can you also swap things? So for instance, if we have 1.1, how much is in roads next year?
1.1 million.
1.1. So you could allocate if infrastructure is roads, you can allocate that 850, 900,000 to roads, and then just have a total swap. You can still have the 850,000 sitting there, and you don't have a designated time frame to use that, right? Or would you not be able to?
But to Paul's point, if we do that, if we run it down 303 to Ridge, we're spending all these funds for a cemetery. I mean, nobody's going to benefit from this. And this is something that, this is something I've said from the beginning with the ARPA funds. It's something I would like to see the entire township be able to benefit from, not a select few. And if we run it just down Ridge Road to 303, nobody's benefiting from it
Well, they will. That's the connector for the future.
in the future.
Yeah,
But we
that's the
don't know
connector
when,
for the future.
we don't know when the funds will
But
be
if we
there.
can get if we can get the 50%, at least we have a tangible number and a way to move forward for the future.
I don't think that anybody would benefit. And I think that a lot of people, I would be one of them saying, what did you use that $852,000?
That we would never have had for any other reason ever.
Right, so why don't
it's
we
a
have something
grant.
to show
It's
for
a-
it that the entire
because we
township
will have something
can
to show
benefit
for it. It's a
from?
connector for the future. What better legacy to leave behind?
What if you brought it the plan B to the elementary school and ended it there? Everybody that has kids in elementary school throughout the town, those kids would benefit from a safe water supply. And
Exactly. There's a million ways to do
not
it.
get it all the way, not get it all the way up to the center of town right away. How much would you spend if you just ended at the elementary school
Coming from,
The easement.
through the easement?
Isn't the school offered?
At least you've allocated the funds, you've made a little bit of progress and you fit it in.
Wait, what was the question?
The school was offered to tie in and
The
they
school
chose
did,
not
the school
to.
did not want to pay the capital improvement
Yeah.
funding for all of this.
I remember I talked with the school district about, because they were considering extending the water main south here, but they chose to go the well route or let's just call it 4,000 feet to go through the easement and then to get it down to the school there. Times, 250, 300 bucks or 275, 300 bucks. a
That's $1
foot,
million.
1.2 million.
Yeah.
That fits the budget.
just for construction.
Yeah.
That's not for engineering or soil borings and all that.
1.2 does not fit the budget.
Don't you have
The
a-
budget's 852.
852 grand, and then the county would put some money into that?
The county's not going to fund that there's not enough people to serve. You're just getting to the school.
Its potential subscribers.
Sorry, gentlemen.
Well, you can ask him. Will they talk about potential
Maybe.
subscribers?
Maybe 7, 8 homes, maybe. And including the school.
We keep talking about percentages of people who would like to sign on, but the real question is there a per dollar you want to get back out of build costs? So we talk about your houses, but if you build out a mile worth, is there a certain number of homes that you want tapped in for this to become important?
I mean, we've done assessed projects in the past as well, where we install the project gets designed. Basically the county runs the project and then
Advertised by the residents who tap in.
whether we've done it by a price per foot of frontage, we've done it per resident. I mean, an assessed project is also a viable option.
So ARPA funds aside,
Mhm.
what metrics would we need to hit to be able to utilize a method?
I would say you're looking for it to be considered if we can get half the people and that they would be willing to do an assessment. Again, that assessment also has to get passed by commissioners and there has to be hearings because you're going to have people that don't want to get assessed for that project. You're probably, and I'm just going to throw a number out here, you're probably looking maybe $20,000 to $30,000 of cost potentially per property. Which could be assessed over the property taxes over 20 years, but that is also another option.
You've given us much to consider, Jeremy.
Which would probably be the fairest way to look at it, because an individual who purchased property that had water now paid a premium to get that property, correct?
Mhm.
So.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would say if anyone that has water for the property, typically there's a increase in value there.
Yeah.
What are we looking at realistically with time frame? If we were to send the letter out and have everyone respond to it, and then get that back and look at the results, and then you bring it to the commissioners and the commissioners decide, yes, we can try and make something work here, or no, we just can't do it in our 10-year plan. What is the time frame we're looking at? Because we are kind of coming up on a time frame ourselves.
Yes.
That we have to know by 2024.
So typically we can send out letters and usually we ask for like a 2-week response time, 2 to 3 weeks, say, here's the form, here's the form, this is our fees that you can expect to see. And then that's when they would sign off that they'd be willing to connect within the 2 years. So people that connect, we don't look at, I know there's always people that aren't going to respond. But we only look at the people that have actually provided a response back.
And it would be to everyone along this route.
You tell me
correct?
you give me the extents of where you would like to send that.
And would it go to the property or the property owner?
Property owner,
Okay.
because they would be the ones that would be ultimately at
Right.
One more quick question. Maybe this might be stupid, but if you bring water to these areas, what does it do with the lot sizes?
Nothing.
Because I've seen it in North Royalton where we brought down water and all of a sudden the lot sizes went to a ½ acre.
I can speak on that if you'd like.
Thank you,
Hey,
Jeremy.
no problem. Hey, so that's with sewers. So the sanitary sewers allow the reduced frontage or the lot sizes.
Water's not gonna have-
And that's due to the septic systems. I believe you need them 2-acre minimum for for a septic. The sanitary sewer, public sewers allow the reduced lot size. So the sewer drives the development typically, not the water.
And the zoning regulation takes precedence in any case, which is currently a 2-acre minimum.
So
And
do-
if sewer were to be run in the future, it would just follow the same.
There is,
line.
as of right now, there is no way to get sewer over here. Yeah.
Not through that easement.
What's that?
That's
The topography doesn't, the topography just does not work. Because the Skyland Golf Course, this is all low pressure force main from the new development over here. That's all low pressure force main that pumps all the way west down 303.
It's a systematic map.
The store usually has to fall with gravity where water can be traversed more terrain than a sewer line.
Yeah, water's pressurized, so we can kind of push it wherever.
Or you can pressurize sewage too.
We don't like pressurized sewers.
So I guess the question is, do the trustees want to move forward with a letter to engage the public and see if there's interest?
I will. Would it be a letter that specifies an assessment?
Well, I guess I guess it depends.
It would-
How you would want to move forward with that. We can just do a generic letter just to first find out, hey, who's interested? And then we can send out another letter as far as if the assessment is the way to go, would you be interested in, or would you be okay with an assessed project where the property owner would then pay for the cost of the water main? I mean, those are two viable options, and I can work with you all with, once we get draft the letter, it can even be a joint letter from us and Hinckley Township if you would like.
But I have to say, when we've done this 3 other times, we have put in there that there has to be the commitment made to.
Correct.
I just wanted you
Yep.
to make that clear.
Yep.
This isn't gonna be like, would you like?
Would you like it? No, there's the commitment there.
Yeah.
Correct.
You're going to commit to binding agreement that you have to tap in, or as Jeremy said, you're going to be assessed. Because we have done this 3 other times before. We sent out the letter.
The Stony Hill job.
Anybody ever back out?
Yeah. And
No.
then again, 6 years ago. For the Mattingly, we were already covered, but we did do the Mattingly, when you came down Mattingly to do the loop.
Well, and the whole Mattingly job, that was to take over those customers up at the corner of Boston and West 130th. Those were all Cleveland developments over there. So that was us running the line down Mattingly and Ridge Road wasn't necessarily, that was more for
Well, no,
our
we-
infrastructure.
Through Amy, we reached out to the people.
Oh.
South on Ridge and then all the way to the river on
Correct.
Mattingly, because the project was going to occur. We sent out these exact letters that we're
Mhm.
talking about now. And I think we maybe got a 17%.
Almost every house between Ridge and the river on Mattingly have been bought or sold aside from one or two.
And yeah, and a lot changes in that period. I acknowledge that.
Does these letters go to every resident?
They went to
Or just on
every
the property
parcel owner.
Well, we have to determine the route, and then we would be able to send the letters based on the route that we chose.
In regards to
Or the city
that,
center?
in
Towards-
regards to that, these letters, you're saying that if they agree that it's a binding agreement,
Well, it's a commitment, because if you're going to move forward on asking the county to look at the water line, you have to.
right, but it's not, there's no elements of a contract, there's no consideration in that. And I don't see what's wrong with gauging interest rather than,
Well, gauging interest isn't gonna help this board make a decision. You
right,
have to have-
absolutely, but I mean, you know.
Because what has happened in the past is they did this,
Mhm.
the county agreed, put it on their plan, put the line in. Resident said, my well's still good. I'm not gonna tap in right now.
Yeah, and I would say that was in the mid to late 2000s when we ran water main down Stony Hill from 606 north. I think we did Cana Circle, all that.
Different area, different people, like
Yeah.
that gentleman said, different homeowners.
Mhm.
I mean, that's completely different. So
But
it's
that's where we-
gauge it.
That's
Right,
where
but
we had the
county's
issue.
Not gonna do that again. They're not gonna take that risk again.
Right, I
with us
understand that.
having that contract signed by everyone who's going to,
Mhm.
everyone who's saying they're gonna do it. It's
Yeah,
contract.
no, I understand that, and I understand the elements of contract, I'm just, you know,
Yeah.
trying to see if people are interested to, you know, shy them away by saying, oh, you have to commit to this without knowing the cost, without knowing the other elements that you've discussed about. Right, right.
But like he's saying, probably 20 to 30,000 per lot, so.
And that's just a rough number, but just to give you an idea. Well, I appreciate it.
Well, like I said, I just talked to a parcel owner that paid $16,000 for a brand new well. And much rather would have wanted to tap in. I'm sorry, you were speaking in the back and we kind of stopped.
The letters you're sending in now, is that just for the people for the city center? Is that for the?
Well, the trustees have to determine where they want to pursue those letters.
Mhm.
Did you have something?
I just wanted to say timing wise for your ARPA money, just for your own protection, since you do have to be appropriated by the end of 2024. I would make sure your letter does discuss assessment too, because the project's just unlikely to make a 10-year capital improvement plan.
3 or 4 year, really. I mean, with
And
the,
and you're not gonna make your ARPA money timeline. So I would recommend that assessment be a part of your letter, so that if you wanted to use some of your ARPA money towards the project, the assessment should probably be part of the letter.
You
Otherwise.
might also want to
You're not
describe
gonna
the
make
letter.
it.
I'm one of the
I
people that
understand.
was on Weymouth Road that, oh, I'm sorry.
Paul?
I'm one of the people that was on Weymouth Road that did sign up for the water, did tap in.
well, I appreciate that.
Oh, it's wonderful. I mean, it's just incredibly great water. And when we tapped in, I think the fee was $17.50 when we did it during the construction period. It was a
Yeah.
really.
If you did
great
during
deal.
the,
After the line was put in, everybody on the street, they weren't aware of that. Once the line went in, they're all gonna get assessed for the line. But they do get a benefit. There's fire hydrants in the road.
Mhm.
Their insurance is less, and they have fire protection. Okay,
That is
so they
correct.
are getting a benefit from it, even though they're still running their wells. Now, everybody's wells are running dry, and now they're all complaining that to tap in, it's 5,500 now. So people should be aware of that if you will be assessed, and then if you wait to tap in later, it will cost you more.
I think once you include the cost of the meter, the connection, I mean, copper is ridiculously expensive now. The materials they're just astronomical. But yeah, you're probably right in the,
But you guys went up with the tapping fee too.
we actually went down.
We went down.
Oh,
We dropped the water by $600.
How much does it cost to tap the line?
To tap the line. It is, I'm gonna say in the neighborhood of $1,200, depending on the size, $1,100, depending on the service connection size. The system investment fee or the water connection charge that was $4,000 is $3,400 now.
So it went from 4,000 to 3,400.
That is correct.
Well, that's nice. I wasn't aware of that.
That was pretty recent.
August 1st,
Oh, that's
Yeah.
recent.
Yep.
Okay.
that recent.
He's obviously not paying attention.
So you
to
add it
the
all
issue.
up, it did go down. All right.
Outside of the water project, are there other utilizations for the ARPA funds that are being considered? Or are they allocated strictly?
We know that water infrastructure is covered because it was one of the very first things that was covered, was infrastructure. So there's not a question of its use. Since that time, they have expanded the uses for the ARPA funds. So there are many, many considerations that we have before us. I know we've talked about solar, we've talked about new roof, windows, parking lot. I think you sent me a list. Did I cover everything?
and also, road repair, reallocating some of that money.
Reallocating road repair. So, which I'm not a fan of because we already have a $1.1 million road budget. And to Monique's point, we don't want to just service certain people, and a road would do that. So basically kind of taking care of home base here are some of the things that we have considered, but we are open to other considerations. So if you have an idea and you want to email me, feel free to.
I think there's some people in the town that feel that if you stop the expansion of water, you're going to control development. I disagree. I think people are still going to develop. They're still going to call up rent a few, sink wells. If you don't invest in water infrastructure, you will control development a little bit, but you're also going to condemn a lot of people's property to cisterns. And I think that's foolish. That's a foolish way to go.
Thank you very much, Jeremy. I appreciate it. So the
Thank you for having
trustees
me.
will have further conversation and be
That's
back in
fine.
touch with you about designated area for,
You let me know
Letter.
where and we can get a letter together. I'll shoot it over to you before we send it out. Just make sure everyone's good with it and then we can go from there.
thank you very much.
Yep,
And
not a
thank you, Commissioner Sweattick, for being here as well. Congratulations on your win.
And for everyone here also, something that we have brought up in the past in the meetings is email all three of us. If this is something that you do want, the best way to do it, if you can't actually come to a meeting and say it, is send an email to all three trustees so that we know how everybody feels about this. But
Very
thank you all for coming.
Does anyone have anything else that they'd like to discuss on the topic of water before we move on to our non-employee handbook, which is going to be a stellar conversation? Anyone? Thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate it. And the whole room. Pardon me? I talked to her about it.
Well, I heard their wells.
It's very bad water. John told me that. Okay.
How are you, young man? Hip's good. It's good. Pretty much back to normal. I'm not allowed to run yet.
Yes, yes. At our 6:30 meeting, I was just gonna mention that I had a conversation with ODOT and they are going to be pursuing a roundabout. That will be happening.
Yeah, they never tested me.
December 27th.
Who's doing that?
Okay.
I have mine
Talk
done.
about the bargains, yeah, I remember meeting you, yes.
It's a good color. It's a good color.
It's no harm. If I was,
How are you doing?
Good, about yourself?
so I'm not sure, you know, you got
Well, it's not me, it's the state.
Right, I know. I'm just wondering if you
I'm
have
gonna give you my business.
the talk. It's all throughout the neighborhood
You can
about.
call me anytime, that's my business card, and I'll tell you anything I can, but because it's ODOT and there's any revision, they take care of their own stuff, we really don't have a say in it.
Okay, so
But
the
if-
information you.
But I'm the zoning liaison, so if you're gonna work on an easement, we can talk further about
Okay,
that.
well, like I said, conservation easement has been surveyed,
Okay.
it's described, and ready to go to the next step,
Okay.
which is
That would
basically
change.
letting the conservation group, go ahead with it.
Yeah, I think that would probably change the direction of that, and I don't know for sure, but that's my.
Yeah, thing is, you did say it's.
4 to 5. 4 to 5, that's what ODOT.
So I don't think, keeping that in mind. I can't predict what's going to
I
happen.
can't either, but I think that if it's got an easement on it, it's gonna be really hard for them to do anything with.
You know, that- I don't know how the conversation passes on.
I don't know either, but I can look into it. If you give me a call, we can have further
That's what I
conversation.
want.
Yeah, thank you for
That's
being
gonna-
here.
It's gonna really affect my property more than the house.
Yeah,
So whatever they would do, it's here.
right. I remember talking to you with Jim Burns.
That's right.
Yeah,
Oh, thanks so much.
thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, we're still in the middle of a work session. Are you guys ready to talk about the non-union employee handbook? Do you need a 5-minute recess?
I just took mine.
Must be from all the people.
It is hot here.
We're gonna take a 5-minute recess. That's what I'm just gonna say.
This one has ODOT. Oh, here
Are you ready?
You're ready. I'm sure how ready I am, but.
Okay. So we have about an hour. That's enough time.
I don't think it is.
I don't think it is either.
Is Richard Pearl in attendance?
I do not see him.
That's what I'm saying. I know. I'm just saying, that has a station.
I was.
Are you guys ready to reconvene so we can tackle this?
I am.
I've been in a work session that totally stopped before.
Probably should have done some of that vodka.
I want a
Spike
second
all of our-
bottle. I was in the bathroom. I didn't even know.
I
just gave it away to people.
I want a necklace.
Oh, you won the necklace? The necklace?
The necklace. I won it.
Wow.
I had the key. Actually,
And
I
your wife
left-
wasn't there, so she doesn't know what she's getting for
Yeah,
Christmas.
she does. She has it.
What'd you get?
So Saturday, the foundation every year, they have a piece of jewelry. I think it was Thurber Jewelers always donates it. So you buy a key for $20. They sell 100 of them. So whoever has the key that opens the magic box wins the jewelry. So
You won?
I won.
I'm walking around with keys.
So
He won.
I bought one of the last keys. There was maybe 10 left. And I left it laying on the table.
Who'd
when
you
I-
buy it from?
Kimberly Braver.
That's who I bought it from, and I put one of the last.
So the key to that, no pun intended, is look at the keys and do not pick one that looks like a house key.
It might
Okay.
Because it's never going to be the key.
Not the house.
Right, do not pick anything that looks like a house key.
So what
So
kind of necklace was it?
it's got like 3 diamonds in it.
I know, waiting.
So I left my key laying on the table. I went on halfway home and I went, ah. So I texted Dale and Pat Dawn. I go, hey, take my key, go see if I won. So the next thing you know, Laura Chorba and Deanna are just screaming on the phone at me that I won.
Gosh.
So I'm like, oh,
That's awesome. Congratulations.
And then we'll have.
No one something.
it capped off a good week. We bought a house in Florida last week. And, so,
And you got a diamond
and I got a
necklace.
diamond necklace. Well, I didn't.
I kind of expect you to wear it now.
Probably not. I don't think I'll be allowed to touch it.
No. Are you guys ready?
Well, we're here till 7:30, 8
I
o'clock.
told my daughter, I'm not gonna be
Well, you
home.
know.
I decided.
Probably bring.
Well, I was here at 8 AM. I went home for an hour.
So they'll probably just.
Well, then about 6:45 this morning. So peaceful.
It is.
So.
I got to see Suzanne this morning.
That's always the best.
It is.
Is he still signing? Maybe I can sign while I'm sitting here.
You staying all night?
Yeah.
December 3rd. Probably need you guys to cross the road.
We've got a meeting
They
tomorrow
will be
night.
there. I will
meeting
be in
tomorrow night?
Palm Springs, California, but no, not tomorrow. December 3rd.
There ain't nothing in California.
There's
What is it?
7 days in Palm Springs on vacation.
Yeah, just the normal stuff.
Yeah, we'll take care of it. Don't worry.
I like that. Love blue, love teal, inspire the people.
I will do that. I'm hoping to.
There's no way we're gonna get through this handbook.
No.
You'll be there too.
Yes, sir, I will be there. What time? Is it 5 or 6? Okay, I made the reservation for it, but I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't think we're getting through this.
No, you have a lot. That's why I wanted to meet with everybody before.
Thanks for coming, Mark.
And then we found out that they were expected at Stony Hill. And Eric Hill.
And I have a lot. I mean,
I haven't had a chance to be honest with you, to really dive through it and just go page by page from the old one to the new one.
well, they moved everything around. It's not like,
Yeah.
Everything that was taken out.
Any letter they send out.
Otherwise.
Yeah, she said.
You don't have to tell them what the cost is.
Hey, in the meeting, I did speak with CoDOT about the traffic circle, and I know what the plan is for
4
that.
to 5 years.
2020 fiscal year 27, it's on the books, they're planning it right now, and they have the funding in place,
Yeah, I
so
know.
it's coming.
I know. So,
So,
yeah, I just talked, the guy that just stopped here said he has property on the corner that he's gonna have an easement on. I don't know how they're gonna finagle that if it's conservation.
well, that house that's on the northwest corner, that's gonna have to go.
It's not free.
I don't know how they're gonna do it
I talked
otherwise.
to ODOT about it.
But my sister, Phil,
Yeah, that's the plan.
I don't know that we're gonna get through this whole handbook, but we've got some of our staff members here. Suzanne's gotta go. You have to go at 6. You have 30 minutes. Do you want to start and just go through and, no? Okay. All right, so we're gonna tackle this new employee manual. There's some grammar issues and spacing issues that I think I could probably point out to her.
There's a lot.
There's a lot. The first thing is I'd like for her to add page numbers, because when we finagle this right now, that's gonna be one of the first things. Trustee Asher, are you in agreement that we need page numbers on this handbook?
Yeah.
Okay. Guys, I'm gonna ask for just a little bit more quiet in the back of the room. Thank you. All right, so we're gonna add some page numbers. There's some spacing issues, grammar issues, but if we go to section 1, introduction.
First, take employee handbook off. It should just be policy manual. I took employee handbook out of everywhere. Handbook, it should just be called a manual.
No, it's
Why?
got fire department manuals.
Yeah. Police department manuals.
Yeah,
They're all manuals.
they're all, this is just for non-union employees.
A manual.
Right.
Right.
I said take employee handbook off.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said non-union. My mistake.
No.
So you want it to say non-union employee.
Take out this small.
Take out the
rid
small
of it.
type of employee handbook at the bottom.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
Okay, so Laura, who did this for us, was supposed to be here
I'll give you a
tonight,
markup
but
after,
she's
but we'll go through
very
these.
sick, so she's gonna try to watch the YouTube later. So in the table of contents, section 1.2, do you still want that to say employee handbook?
No,
What should it be named?
it should be named, what did I name it down here? Employee policy manual.
Okay. There's a spacing issue at the very bottom of that first page of table of contents. I will have her tackle, as well as at the top of the next page between 4.12 and 4.13, and then between 5.5 and 5.6. So I'm in section 1. Is everyone in section 1?
It should just say, welcome to Hinckley Township, period. There shouldn't be a period.
Welcome to Hinckley Township. We are eliminating policy manual for non-employee department employees.
Correct.
Trustee Asher, are you in agreement?
Yes.
Perfect. In section 1.2,
Title, employee policy manual.
policy manual.
This employee manual, and in parentheses, quote, manual.
Got it.
I said, is designed to summarize certain personnel policy benefits for Hinckley Township. Took out policy manual for and the word department.
Took out policy manual for,
And the word department.
okay.
Can you send that to us, what you have? I
Well,
mean, that might
We
be.
have I have a lot of edits too.
Yeah,
Okay.
If you send, you've already made the changes electronically.
not all the way through.
Okay, but if you want to do that along the way and then send it to me,
Yeah.
I'll just hit. Then we can work simultaneously on this. Okay, so anything else in that second paragraph of 1.2?
Well, let's stay in the first paragraph.
Oh, you're still in the first.
This manual, the last sentence, this manual applies to all non-union, insert the word non-union.
The last sentence is this handbook. You want manual.
Yeah. Applies to all non-union. The next paragraph of this manual. And the second sentence, you send delete provisions of this manual.
Manual.
Next sentence is employee manual,
Got
not
it.
binding. And then the second to last sentence, again, this handbook, delete handbook manual. And the last paragraph, the use of the term trustees, there should be a quote there. There's a quote's missing on trustee or township, one of those.
Okay, so I designated that anywhere it said human resources, it should be fiscal officer, which is often.
Okay,
And so you're on the last paragraph of 1.3,
1.2,
1.2.
the use of the term quote trustees, quote.
That's my phone, sorry.
Oh.
Township and employer is in this manual shall
Yes, sir.
mean Board of Township Trustees.
That actually says manual.
It does, but they're missing a quote in front of township.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, an employer
Did
in
you
this
guys make
manual,
those changes?
yes.
and
All
then
right.
this manual shall mean the Hinckley Township Board of Trustees.
Got it. Okay. Moving on to 1.3.
What do you have?
I now have a handbook changed to manual everywhere that it says handbook, as if I read your mind. And then the last the last sentence, if you are uncertain about any policy or procedure, please check with your department head, fiscal officer, or trustee liaison.
Okay.
And I'm only seeing handbook twice in the paragraph above it. Am I missing one?
Well, I only saw it once, so twice it is.
And this handbook,
I just-
Second line to the right.
Yep, I just
and
saw it.
Fourth line, kind of middle.
Okay,
Got it.
moving on to 1.4, employment at will. The first paragraph, I did not see any changes, but I'm now looking for handbook. I'm not seeing that.
Mm-mm.
I think that this is just my opinion. The second paragraph, nothing in this manual
I'm sorry.
will limit the right of either party to terminate an at-will employment. And I don't think the rest of that paragraph is needed at all.
I'm sorry, where were you, Melissa?
I'm on the second paragraph of 1.4, employment at will. The first sentence of that second paragraph, nothing in this manual will limit the right of either party to terminate an at-will employment. I mean, that's state law. We already know that.
Okay,
But the rest of it, no section of this book is meant to be construed, nor should be construed or established anything, da, 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 da. I don't think that's needed at all. I think the rest of that paragraph would go away. We're saying that multiple times throughout this document.
Don't you think some of these you should run by the prosecutor's office?
That will be the exact last step, for sure.
Well, I mean, you're gonna delete a whole paragraph before sending it to the prosecutor's
No,
office?
I would note that I would have him look at it, because you can comment in the Word document to do that.
Okay, as long as you're not taking things out. Or
Doing a
seeing
blanket
it.
delete.
Yeah. You may have alternate feeling.
what do you want to put where she says insert
Insert appropriate
appropriate?
person.
Other than the Board of Trustees?
Yes, the Hinckley Township Board of Trustees, so that we're,
We'll just say trustees because we defined that above.
okay. But you added it in that last section. But you're right, that was part of the definition. Perfect. Are you ready to move section 2?
Got another insert here. Two point one.
Okay. Employee classifications. Under exempt employees. I questioned the, in addition, certain commissioned sales employees and highly paid computer professionals are exempt. I don't know that we have sales employees or highly skilled computer professionals.
I mean, my example, but
It just felt like language from another, like somebody else, maybe a company handbook, not a municipality.
I would agree.
So we can ask, I'll put a note to ask the prosecutor. And if you guys have anything, please feel free to speak up. Anything else on this page that we feel needs to be addressed?
No.
Trustee Astral, okay, so we're gonna go over to the next page. And there's an indentation on that paragraph at the top of that page. I'm gonna have her note that that needs to come back over to the regular margin.
No, it's in line with the above text.
Is it? I'm showing it.
The following terms, it's one of the terms.
You're right. I scribbled it out. Okay, anything else in section 2.1?
I do not.
2.2?
In the second paragraph, that the for example and on, I put a comment in there, is that necessary?
For example,
The first thing says what we'll do, and then it's like, for example.
yeah, and that's in the second paragraph.
Yeah.
So do you want to
take out that whole sentence.
That whole
Yeah.
last part from, for example, to the end of that
to
paragraph.
the operations?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll ask the prosecutor about that. What about the next paragraph?
I'm okay with that.
I am too. Trustee Astral?
I'm fine.
2.3, I have major concerns about this confidentiality thing. We don't really.
I also commented, we're not a business.
So I'd like to eliminate that section, but I would ask the prosecutor. I wanted to get your opinion on it.
I was just taking out that sentence, but I think the confidentiality, there is confidential information, employee records, things like that.
And we asked her to include that, like with people having access to passwords.
Yeah.
So we asked her to include.
There's information in here again that seems more corporate, maintaining the confidentiality of this information.
That's the
vital to
sentence
the
I
township's
pulled out.
position.
No, that's
Okay.
the sentence I'm saying pull out.
Where is that sentence?
Maintaining, it's the third sentence. I believe.
Maintaining
Maybe it's the
confidentiality.
second. Yeah.
Vital
This
to Township's
information is
competitive position.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
Oh, okay. Okay, well then. It came from the old section of code of ethics, 1.5.
Oh, did it? See, that's the thing. It's some of it.
Part of it, was completely changed. That was the letter.
1.5.
It was previously stated.
So I wonder if that first section of 1 point, do you have the old in front of you?
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
So that's the code of ethics. I actually like the language in that, in the old version, and I'm not really, that was what I was, the hardest part of this is trying to figure out where it was in the new version, because some of it's good content. Code of ethics.
So then we. If you're about.
That is in, she put it under computer, PDAs, internet, and email usage.
What section is that?
That
5?
is, let's see. 2.13 township equipment.
2.13.
Yeah, find the prohibited, some examples prohibited that violate the internet policy, using the organization's time and resources for personal gain, sending or posting. I don't know if that's the same thing.
Where are you at?
In the new one, I was at 2.13B.
So we also have an acceptable use policy that already exists. And this is defined in more detail in that acceptable use policy. I mean, it's fine, but it's further enhanced by that acceptable use policy.
And I was wondering that too, Martha, you bring up a good point, because there's, she's got a cell phone use policy. Well, we have a cell phone use
Oh,
policy.
yeah, and I have that written too.
Right.
So, I don't know, you could just write the policy on there. I don't see anything wrong in here, but I would just say, for more details, refer to,
Mhm.
I can give you the policy name and the
Yeah.
resolution number.
And I wonder if we should even attach it to this. in
Well,
some
it
capacity.
changes. So how
Yeah.
are you gonna keep up with the manual?
Yeah.
How are you gonna, it's basically the same information, but
Yeah.
it goes into further detail and it's that, so I
Okay.
would just say
I'd
refer to the township policy.
Okay.
I'd say put
addition
this
to
code
this
of ethics back
information.
in.
I would like to see this put back in. I think that's exactly what I'm talking. I mean, it's good language.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's on page 7 of the old. No employee
Okay,
shall use this
code
position within the township for
policy
personal
manual.
gain, or shall engage in any business transactions, or shall have financial or other interest, direct or indirect, which is in the conflict of the proper discharge of his duties. This is a good.
No,
this is good
yeah, I just read
content.
it through. I like that. I'd like to put that back in.
So where would you put it? Do we want to put it before confidentiality? Or right at the beginning?
This is, let's see.
Maybe we should put it under. Maybe it should be the first thing in section 2, before employee classification. Or after confidentiality, because the next section is then employees of minors and then employees of relatives. So you would tackle the ethical language before that.
1 second. Okay, what were you saying before what?
The code of ethics section, do
Yeah.
you want to make that, put that after confidentiality? So right before employment of minors and employment of relatives. it would be 2.4. And then employee of minors would become 2.5.
Let's put it before confidentiality.
Okay,
Okay, in the old handbook, it is, where is it at?
page 7, section 1.5. So that would become section 2.3. And you felt comfortable with the rest of confidentiality?
I'm fine with it.
Because it says here, this duty of confidentiality also applies to communications transmitted by the township's electronic communications. See internet, email, and computer use policy. Those are open to public record.
You're getting way ahead of me.
Well, it's the last sentence of confidentiality in the first paragraph.
And you think it shouldn't be there because of public record?
Yeah,
Well, you can redact. I mean, if somebody wanted the email that had the Zoom password on it, you could print the email and redact the password.
but I think it's specifically kind of talking more about employee records.
Well, those are still public records.
Right.
And then they get redacted.
Yeah, but
So-
it also says up here, only disclosing it only when authorized to do so. So that covers that. And what they're saying in that last sentence is it also applies to sharing that information electronically.
So can we put here then, see also internet, email, and computer use policy, public records for policy?
No.
Doesn't have
I
to.
don't think that, yeah, I
Okay.
think
That's
that's too
fine.
much.
All right, and you're fine with the last sentence, as a condition of employment with the township, all employees must sign a non-disclosure agreement?
Do we have that?
No.
It's only, and that would only apply.
An
to
NDA?
admin.
We're a municipality. So can we agree to remove that sentence?
I believe so.
Of course, that will go to the prosecutor. We won't just remove it, but
All these changes we're making, Brian might say none, no to any of them.
or he might say, well, you need more. 2.4, employment of minors. The only change that I saw was sub-minimum wage rates, which is the last 3 letters or 3 words. And I just don't think there should be a hyphen between sub and minimum.
Okay, I'll take your word for that.
Because I looked it up. Because I didn't know what it was. And then I'd like to see a space between that last line and 2.5.
Okay.
Any adaptations to 2.5?
Is is it new 2.5? What do
Employment of relatives.
Employment of relatives, okay. I have in the last paragraph, if present employees become relatives, the township should be notified so that the township instead of we, it
Yeah.
should be we.
Good job. Okay. Any other changes to 2.5? The old 2.5?
Not me.
introductory period, we call probationary period.
That's what I did too.
Did you, okay, agree with that? So, and everywhere that it says introductory, I'd like to change that to probationary. And then the last line of the first paragraph, your status as an at-will employee does not change. And there's a hyphen there between change and the employment. I
Yeah,
think that
I
should
get
be
that too.
removed. And then she calls it probationary period in the next paragraph, so. Any other changes to probationary period?
No.
Trustee Sweattick?
Where was that last one you said?
Probationary, oh, the hyphen?
No, you said there was one more probation.
No, do you have any more?
No, just that she had it listed twice as probationary in that second paragraph.
Oh.
And then the
That's all she
last,
said.
actually, the very last paragraph, it's listed twice as introductory, so we're gonna change that to probationary. Period. You see it, Jack?
Yep.
Okay. Personal records and employee references. I had some questions about the second paragraph.
Just to have a comma in the first paragraph.
Where's that?
Oh, wait, that was back under probationary
Where?
in the first paragraph. The last sentence, your status as an at-will employee does not change, comma, the employment relationship may be.
Oh, that's where the hyphen was. So
Yeah.
we took the hyphen out and put a comma in.
yeah.
Got it.
You have nothing under personnel records.
Did you have any questions about the second paragraph? Employees may contact their department head to request a time to review their payroll records. I mean, that's, they would actually contact fiscal officer.
Well, they should go through the department head.
Okay. Do you have any questions on this section? Okay. Trustee Astral, anything on personal records?
Nope.
Want to move to privacy? I'm not seeing any issue with, did you have a question, Suzanne?
On the third paragraph, on 2.7, it says by policy, the township will provide only the former or present employees.
Do we have a policy? Maybe we should just eliminate by policy and just make the township will provide only the former or present employee dates. Do we want to eliminate the policy or by policy?
Provided to who?
Well, sometimes you'll get credit applications, employment verifications. It's pretty normal, but the employee has to authorize the release of that information. And to be honest, it's also a public record. I mean, our compensation is all public record. See what Brian says about, some of these things, I think he's more suited to weigh in on.
You're gonna love getting this.
Yeah, we don't actually have a policy, so I'd be curious to see what he says about that.
Well, you don't, I mean, it doesn't have to say, it just has to follow statutory.
Okay. Privacy, any issues with privacy? Okay. Immigration law compliance in the last handbook was employee eligibility verification. I think that kind of should just stay that. That's what it is listed federally.
Okay.
She actually refers to it in the paragraph itself. Because it's an employee eligibility verification form.
I-9.
Right.
So just change that
The title, if you're in agreement.
Yep.
What does it become? Employee verification? Employee
Employee
eligible.
eligibility verification. I have a note here. One of the things, Martha, how often do you have to fill out that I-9 form?
For every employee,
But how often?
once.
Okay, because it says in the old manual that completed form will be retained for 3 years or for 1 year past the employment of the individual, whichever is longer. And I didn't know if we wanted to incorporate that language.
You know, I just keep it in there, so I wouldn't worry about it. I
Okay,
mean, it's just part of their employee file. I don't throw anything away. in
Got
the
it.
Employee file.
okay, perfect. So we don't need to say anything about it. Political neutrality. Any changes, comments, questions?
Nope.
Trustee Astral?
No.
Position descriptions? Number 2 says reporting relationship within the department/division table of, and then there's a huge space and it
It's
says
just a tab.
organization.
She had a tab by mistake. I took it out.
Okay, spacing, got it. And then there's a double space between 211 and 212, so I noted that. Can we move on to travel policy? Any questions on that?
Mm-mm.
Anyone? Township equipment?
That isn't right. We have a travel policy also. So it's not on a case-by-case basis. We have a specific travel policy that indicates,
Mileage within the
So it
outside
shall
the
be
county?
done.
yeah, mileage, food allowances, what's considered where an expense can be submitted. So I would just say refer to the travel policy unless you want to put the whole thing in there.
As specified in the Hinckley Township travel policy.
Yeah. But it's not done on a case-by-case basis.
You know, I don't think it's been mentioned either, like some of these, the spacing is off, like 2.8. There should be a space between the heading and the first paragraph, 2.11, 2.12.
It's just a formatting thing.
Okay.
I can clean it up if you want.
Okay, so we're going to refer to the Hinckley Township travel policy. Do we want to include that in this? So they
No.
have it when they're starting?
Well, as long as the departments heads have it, they're the one
Approving travel.
that assigning.
Okay,
Yeah, there's a
and
separate travel
submitting.
policy.
okay. Township equipment A, use of equipment. I don't know if we want to indent these. That was something I noted.
I actually thought the same thing.
Okay. Any comments on language and use of equipment A?
Second paragraph, I changed the second sentence to promptly reporting damages, effects, and the need for repairs, and took out you. It says can prevent.
Got it. And then can you indent those?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you want to put something in there about the laptop computers that people have now as far as whose responsibility it is if something happens to it or it's stolen, or do you want to define that a little bit? Is that something we talked about when everybody got their own computers?
With the CARES Act funds. Do we want to put that in the next section, computer, personal devices, internet and email usage?
Well,
No,
it doesn't
because it's
fit in
equipment.
with that.
I
It's
would put it in with the equipment.
Okay.
Because
So,
right after that bullet would be the best spot to put it.
so you wanted, I just want to make sure I'm understanding. after the bullet, is that at the top, at the bottom?
Underneath where inform your supervisor if any equipment, machines, or tools appear to be damaged, defective, or in need of repair. Promptly reporting damages, defects, and the need for repairs can prevent deterioration of equipment and possible injury to employees or other people. I would add it in, I mean, you could make it its own separate line, or you could just add into this because this is talking about damages. So
Are we being specific to computers and chargers, mouse?
Cell phone.
I said
Okay.
all issued township equipment must be returned to the township at the end of employment.
Well, yeah, but I mean, so the question is, what if that laptop gets stolen in your car? Who's responsible for it? That's what needs to be.
All issued equipment is property of the township. And employees will be held liable for damage,
Or loss.
for damages or loss. And then do you want to put that, your sentence right after that, Jack, that said equipment, you know, whatever you had said needs to be returned at the end of employment? And who are we returning it to?
Township.
department head
Department head.
before, I mean, can we do it like before final paycheck or something? Like have a timeline?
That's a good suggestion. So we're returning to department at the end of employment and prior to issuance of final pay. Got that, Jack?
All issued township equipment is property of the township, and employees will be held liable for damage or loss. All issued township equipment must be returned to the department head at the end of employment prior to issuance of final employment payment.
Perfect.
I have a question on that.
Yes.
When I drop my township cell phone, I have to pay for it. I do work out in the elements and I do drop it.
Aren't they like $1.50? Isn't that how much we normally buy?
I'm just saying, if I have to
First
pay for that in
Every
full, if
2
I'm
years.
signing this,
Oh,
Every 2 years, if the phone breaks within that 2-year period, then it's gonna cost whatever the.
because if I want to be held liable for anything, I'm gonna give it back. Because I don't want to be held liable and be fiscally responsible for it.
Do you ever really carry your township phone?
I do,
we have an OtterBox.
Do I
on it?
call you on your township phone?
I do. I have an OtterBox on it. This gets carried, but if something were to happen in an accident, I have to replace that on my own money. I'm not gonna have that liability on me. I'll go buy my own stuff. That way I can replace it myself and it's mine. I'm just bringing it up, that's all.
No, I'm
Not
glad
trying
you
to ruffle
did.
feathers, but if I'm gonna pay for something, it's gonna be mine,
Mhm.
out of my own pocket. Accidents do happen.
Mhm.
Well,
It depends, the difference is it an accident or was it?
But it doesn't state
it
that.
Well,
doesn't.
that's what I'm saying.
That's-
They
yeah.
have to put some language in there,
Yes.
because you understand,
Yep,
if that computer, your little computer
yep.
is sitting on your seat of the car when you go into the store and someone grabs it,
No, I get that.
yeah, so it's just, I'm just asking for a clarification.
Okay,
So-
held liable
For
for,
damages or loss outside of accident.
So that's the same thing stating that if someone breaks my windshield and steals it, is that my fault?
Well, no, that's an accident. So we would say all
That's
issued
not-
equipment is property of the township and employees will be held liable for damages or losses outside of an accident or outside of what is deemed an accident.
There's just so many variables on that.
There are a lot of variables. I mean, I drive home just to drop off my computer before I go out to be smart. But, you know, you could be on the side of the road and somebody could hit your truck.
Probably never happened, but it's just, something's gotta be stated in there.
Yeah.
Well, there's a difference between an accident, because that stuff happens.
Yeah.
And
Negligible, that's the word I'm
negligence,
looking for.
or you
Negligible.
leave your laptop in your car and you don't lock your car and somebody steals it. I mean, there's a difference.
Will be held responsible for any
For negligible
lost
damage
or
or loss.
damaged equipment due to thank you, because I couldn't say it. Due to negligence.
Liable for negligible damage or loss.
Does that make you feel better?
A little
That was good.
It's a good point. I'm glad you brought it up. Thank you, Mike. We have 20 minutes before our meeting. So I'm just giving you a heads up on time.
It just took some of it. B, I put a bunch of commas in B.
Can we say personal device instead of PDA? I don't feel the need for an acronym there.
I mean, what's she referring to? iPads?
Personal devices, like,
It used to be personal digital assistant.
It
Well-
used to mean public display of affection when I was
Oh.
in high school.
it means a lot of things.
How old are you?
I mean,
It still means the same thing, Monique. It still means the same thing.
I mean, if we're all gonna get into that.
How about we
That's
call
what
it
threw me.
personal electronic devices? How about that?
Perfect.
Don't get a demerit from Joe Paul for those PDA, let me tell you.
Okay, personal electronic device.
Demerit?
It's
How
a-
old are you?
Yeah, no, but you didn't get detention, demerits.
We got demerit.
Gosh,
Wow.
that's what they get now.
In my day, we went out in the hall and bent over.
That's too much information.
Yeah. And then all I
Speaking
heard
of
was
PDA,
Crack. Suzanne,
You're calling this personal devices, or are you talking about the township issue?
that's a thing.
Personal doesn't mean it's your personal. It means it's something that you can hold it and transport portable.
Personal digital assistant is another one. Like an iPad or. Okay, do we have anything for section B? I would just, can we just note that anywhere that it says PDA, we're gonna type out? Because it says on the next page. 3 down.
Yeah, I see it. In the, let's see, under B, 1, 2, the third paragraph. It says internet usage intended job related, occasional, allowed, as long as you keep it within reasonable limits.
Wait, where are you?
Under B,
Yeah,
that next page.
I'm on the next page.
It's the very top line on the next page.
Got it.
what? No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
Are you on?
He's,
Oh,
he's on the computer.
Because
so
you're
when-
on the computer, so you're
when
at, you're
he's
all
making
screwed up. Yeah.
changes, it's
You're all screwed up.
advancing. She said it.
Oh, you know what? It's because
You're,
I
you're
inserted
editing it.
the other tab. Okay, anyway,
So it's the top of.
And
the
you're all
page.
screwed
Thank you,
up.
Monique. It's at the top of the page.
I said B, third paragraph. I
All
didn't
right.
say bottom, top, middle.
Got it.
I did.
Internet usage is intended for,
Job-related
Job-related.
activities, but short,
Again, that's in the acceptable use policy.
acceptable use policy. Where is the acceptable use policy?
In my file cabinet under policy.
That's a really.
You guys approved it. It's there when you need, ask for it.
my question being, within reasonable limits, it says, but are we allowing internet usage on township equipment. Personal internet usage on township equipment,
Well, within reasonable limits, so. it's not
on
like
township
they're-
equipment.
That's the thing, it could be identified. I totally agree. So what are we gonna put there?
You don't, you need to put something in there. It's gonna happen, but if it happens and it's bad, then you need to have cover for it. And that's what this book is for.
Well, that's covered in a couple paragraphs. Tom.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you have to go detail. You just have to give yourself.
I would just say internet usage is intended for job-related activities, period.
And then what happens when you catch someone doing something bad on the internet?
And we go to the
On work
discipline.
hours. So you need to notify them in this document that things like that are unacceptable.
Well,
You don't have
that's-
to go into detail.
Yeah, but it goes into detail later on.
So you're okay right there.
Just stopping at activities.
This between you and me.
Hey, is that personal occasional use?
No, this is work related.
Okay, so internet usage is intended for job-related activities, period. And then the rest of the details are in the following paragraphs, so we don't really need to go into it much more than that. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Trustee Sweattick?
Okay.
Okay.
Taking everything out from but.
Is this all indented under B?
It will be.
Thank you.
Yes.
I have a note here about the organizational minutes at the bottom. I don't remember why I made this note. Oh, using so at the very bottom, it says the following are some examples of prohibited activities that violate the internet policy. The second one is using the organization's time and resources. Can we say the townships?
Okay.
Where are you at again? Following example?
That's the second bullet.
Second example at the bottom. Hello.
Using the organization? That one?
Yes.
What's
She
this
wants
say?
she wants to take out organization
Oh,
and
change it
put
down.
in
I have a
township.
thing there. I have a mark, but I don't remember why.
Well, it says you have to get authorization to
Oh.
download it.
Do we have to provide authorization to download things? That's like a regular occurrence.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be difficult, but again, I think you want to say that you don't want people to download anything that's going to hurt the township or that's detrimental to someone else. You want, and I think like in some of the, like in Jess's book, I think that's, included in there. And the PD, I think, there has to be standards.
Mhm.
And it's only to protect the township. You can't go into detail, but you have to say, if this incident comes up, cause for dismissal could be, well, it says right here.
Because it could be situational, but at least it's in
It
there.
could be, but you want to look at it. You want to cover yourself on it. Make sense?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that's in the acceptable use policy.
I need to write this acceptable use policy down. Is there any way we can get a copy of that, Martha? Thank you. All right, our meeting starts in 10 minutes. Do you feel that we should?
Why don't we just take us down to C?
I was
It
just
does-
gonna say, can we just stop at like D or E? We could stop at C.
Whatever. I mean, because I don't have anything in any of those.
I don't
Do
have
either of
anything.
you?
No, I don't have anything. Actually, I do in D. you want to jump to D, cell phone usage.
Okay.
The second paragraph, it says cell phone users are reminded that. You got it.
Yeah. And look, here's a return of property. I forgot that it was even in there.
I did remember seeing it. I just don't remember where. And then in the fourth paragraph, it says in some cases, employees will be permitted to use their personal cell phone and will be reimbursed for that use as prescribed in the organizational minutes. I think it should say township trustee organizational minutes, and then organizational minutes should be capitalized. That's my 2 cents. So we're stopping at E, if you're comfortable with that, and take a 9-minute break before our meeting.
We need it. Go ahead.
Well, if you go to E, the only one I have is the PDA. You want to change that?
I did.
Okay, perfect. So then we'll be at 2.14 witness policy when we come back and redo this another time. Wow. Thank you. I'm going to take a quick motion to adjourn at 6:21 PM. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Jack, are you in favor?
I almost said second.
Okay. I already turned it off. Oh.
Yeah.